one of the things that interests me is you have Democrats and Republicans. You have Joe Nation, a former assemblyman. You have former Secretary of State George Shultz behind you. And you have other people in the legislature. Describe some, and Willie Brown, former Assembly Speaker. Describe the people who are backing you on this.
Sure, yeah, no, we've reached out to a lot of different people on both sides and found good success, from Assembly Member Portantino, who we're releasing some data with tomorrow in that visualization. At the original launch of California's first ever transparency portal about a month ago, Senator Mimi Walters joined us along with Joe Nation. So we're really trying to build a good bipartisan coalition here, because this is not a Democrat or Republican issue. This is about transparency and accountability. This is about the sorts of things that underlie fundamentally representative democracy, so to speak, because you can't have a functioning democracy. You can't have a functioning system of people making decisions for other people and things like that without information. And we have to bridge those information gaps, which is what we're doing.
8080810. Let's go back to your calls. Let's go to Mark calling from Danville. Mark, welcome to KGO.
Hi.
Hi, Mark.
I just want to comment on the budget process of most of the public agencies. You may not believe this, but they actually do not reward savings, and they reward spending. Let me explain it to you this way. Every year, the budget, you have to make a budget before the year end, the fiscal year end. So if you don't spend the money, then next year they will say that you don't need as much. So what happened is, they just make up all kinds of purchases near the end of the fiscal year so they can justify the next fiscal year's budget.
You're nodding your head, Nate. True or false?
I think that's absolutely true.
Nate's saying he agrees with you.
Thank you for letting us know, Mark. And we're interested in finding examples where there's wasteful spending, things like that. So if you know of particular ones, please send us an email.
Give Mark your email address.
That's info at cacs.org. We'd love to hear from you.
All right. I want you to know, you got an email here from Jane who says, these kids are telling the truth. They will expose billions of waste. Now, unfortunately, Jane feels that I will look silly because I'm a liberal and I'm obviously someone who likes to spend money. Well, Jane, you got me wrong. There's no more fiscal conservative when it comes to responsibility in government than yours truly. But let me ask you guys a question. My old boss, Milton Marks, created something called the Little Hoover Commission here in California. And Senator Marks believed very, very strongly in transparency. What happened to that?
Yeah, no, I hate to hammer home the same old points, but I think it's an issue of transparency and technology and just a lack of the systems required to implement that vision. We have the Little Hoover Commission. We have the Legislative Analyst's Office. We have a variety of oversight organizations in place. But just from a practical standpoint, we're not seeing the results of the money being spent wisely. We're not seeing the results of money, taxpayer money being shown to taxpayers, how it's being spent. So we're trying to put those systems in place, but we really hope to collaborate with organizations like that. We're talking to the Fair Political Practices Commission about some campaign finance transparency, and we'd love to work with Little Hoover to help them with their goals.
Gentlemen, Ken Davis poses a question. Did you contact the state controller, John Chang, who is the manager of the state's money, and did you get any response from him?
Yeah, we actually began our process by calling their office to see if they had the sort of database we were looking for, and we were told that in order to get that sort of detailed data, we'd have to talk to the governor's office or the individual entities themselves.
Why couldn't the state controller issue that information?
They told us that they did not have that information available.
Available to you or available?
Just, I guess they were not particularly specific. I assumed that it was to us or anyone in general. I didn't assume they were just picking us out in particular.
Boy, oh boy. Karen calling from San Jose. Karen, welcome to KGO.
Hi. I was wondering why something hasn't been talked about yet, and that is Governor Brown took away from Proposition 63 money for mental health, $2.4 billion from the mentally ill, and that's a lot of money from us, and then he turned around and cut our checks. And that not a lot of people are aware of the fact that he took that money from the mentally ill. Yeah,
my understanding is that there is a lawsuit pending on that as well. I would point out about the redevelopment agency. There is a lawsuit about that as well. But, these are all questions because of the state shortfall. Gentlemen, you mentioned to me off the air that you're about to pursue a project in addition to what you're doing for California. You're doing a project for San Francisco. Explain that. Nate?
So we've been handed data sets for the state of California similar to what we have for, data sets for the city of San Francisco similar to what we have for the state of California. And we're hoping in the coming month to put that online in a visualization and give people the same information that we've been able to so far on our transparency portal, let people see where local city tax money is being spent, so whether that's in various departments in the city or
Was that information provided by the city government?
No.
That's available in the comprehensive annual financial reports that anyone can find online. San Francisco is fortunately pretty good about some transparency stuff and having data out there. And you'll be able to go see in just a few short weeks how many policemen there have been, how much we've been paying policemen, on the trends in those sorts of things, and for any sort of employee, for any sort of department that we have in the city.
All right, let me ask you, the clock is ticking, and I want to get this out. I want to understand precisely, and I want our listeners to understand, what it is you want to accomplish by this project.
The goal is ultimately to reform the way citizens in California interact with their government. Right now, I think there's a major disconnect between citizens who in general want to apply common sense to these issues and get rid of things that don't make sense in government so that it works better and serves us better. So we're providing the tools to understand where those problems are, and then also the online engagement forums, which will be coming out within the next few months, so that citizens can get online, express their concerns to politicians, and hear back from politicians what they're going to do about it, so that those politicians who aren't willing to be accountable, who aren't willing to reform the system for us, have to answer to their constituents for that, the voters.
Nate, if a politician doesn't respond to you, you're going to put that out there so people know it?
Absolutely. And, one of our goals coming up, hopefully by the end of this year, will be to have a very active engagement forum where constituents can pose issues and questions to politicians and where they can then in turn give their responses and their take on the issue. Certainly if politicians aren't being cooperative, we want to make that known, but we're hoping to bring as many of them into this project as possible.
Are you going to push the governor on this?
Yeah, ultimately this should be a collaborative process. I come into this with a certain level of optimism that we all want the same things. We want California to work better. There may be some special interest groups out there that are not particularly interested in that in the long term and are pushing for some short-term goals that aren't good for the rest of us. But I don't think that we want to take a confrontational tone of he said, she said, this person's wrong, this person's right. It's more about how can we move forward, get information out there, and then act better on that information. And we'd love to have the listeners get online, use the forum when it's ready, and say what they care about.
Give us your website.
CACS.org. And in September, we'll be launching that transparency forum so that people can get online, share what they find in the data, say what they think is most important to California.
I want to thank Dakin Sloss and Nate Levine for coming in there with California Common Sense. Give us the website one more time.
It's at CACS.org. We hope to see you there online.
All right, and you're going to keep me posted because I do want to know what progress you make. An important hour, and I'm very grateful to you.